Alright, looks like I'm finally back on board after having my fucking fun with my new lady friend. Let's go ahead and get to some fucking mystery type fucking messages of which we could bring to the fucking table. Granted, there's no specific intention behind this, I'm just going to be reading what the hell just comes up. So, past, present, future, I'm actually going to be reading in accordance with, well, the fucking timelines in which I got each card assigned. And it's only going to be 3 fucking cards, that's all we need. So already, I'm getting that there could be something going on with legal matters concerning children. Now, granted, you could be a parent, and reason why is because this Two of Cups in reverse. It pretty much signifies that you had a strong linking with some of your kids, and now, granted, it could have deteriorated whenever it concerned the relationship in general. Who knows? You probably weren't able to keep in contact with them, and whenever it comes to the spouse or the one of whom has the kids at this time, it's probably fucking with their heads, probably trying to get to you, and so that's what I'm getting for one of those. Just take this as it resonates, and also the Two of Cups in reverse could also signify childhood problems or lack thereof of a mother. Who knows? You probably didn't have really anybody in your family that was a nurturer or anybody that really cared a shit about another person, in which that could really be something in which you're contemplating and recollecting and also reframing at this time frame. And this is past energy, so this is like sort of contemplation phase of which you're pretty much at. And we're going to go ahead and settle with that demotion as I'm not getting anything else from that card. Now, who knows? I'm getting that some of you do make quilts or you like to make like, what's the word for it? That fucking, what's a fucking hobby for that? I don't know, sewing type shit where you do make quilts. And you could also be an animal lover as well, in which I'm getting that some of you, an animal actually passed recently. I thought I was done with this card, but now it's like, all right, continue. And I'm also seeing two dangling pentacles, in which there could be budgeting issues, or you could probably spend more than you should have at the time of which you were recollecting these problems. In which, who knows, you probably didn't have the right amount of funding in order to do as you needed to do whenever it concerned traveling from point A to point B. I'm also getting for some as well that you could be descended from, since I'm saying the top hat of this fine lady here, I'm getting some Asian descent. Could be even Mongolian as well. Mongolian could be in your bloodline if it's not as big as it really is. Who knows? You still do have some defining features. Like also tattoos, you could be someone that likes to go into tribal tattoos, like Samoan type designs and shit. You could also be a tattoo artist as well. But that's all I'm getting for that card. We're going to be going ahead and getting into the present moment of what is happening. The Hermit. So I'm already getting that you're trying to ease yourself into the situation in which you're involved in at this moment. You seem to be overwhelmed. And so you could be going fucking a million miles an hour and having a hard time stopping. And I'm getting for the white doe as well, the white reindeer, that you could be a very seasonal type person in which whenever it comes to Christmas, you could probably fucking love Christmas. And for some of you, it could actually be a bad time because it could have brought things in your life in which you had to face, in which some of you could probably have seasonal anxiety or seasonal depression, in which, granted, whenever it comes to people of whom have troubles, what's the word for it? Visualizing or being able to hold an image in their mind's eye. Usually, whenever it comes to the traumas they have to face, it's usually around time frames. Since whenever it comes to visualization, element, like flashbacks and shit, they don't have those. The only thing that they do have is the times in which those events happened on that current day. Now, as for the hermit, I am getting that you are a very studious person. You probably do love to study, almost like a coping mechanism. I am getting that for some of you with the cloak here, you're probably going into your spirituality as a way of escaping, and which it's not always a bad thing. But whenever it comes to always being within the spiritual element and not exercising the rational element along with it, you can be lost in that world, and it's a lot harder to come back from that than people realize. But I'm getting that some of you are spending times in prayer as well, and probably even having some anger whenever it concerns what you're asking for. But I'd say the one thing that you're probably asking more than anything is more so just fucking the piece of day in order to actually see what you're needing to see. So that's a hermit right there. Right now, you're struggling with being alone. And much whenever it comes to being alone, technically we aren't alone if there's another motherfucker breathing on the other side of the planet. But whenever it comes to loneliness aspect, I have encountered that on my third year. About that time when I was pretty much just doing my own routine, in which my routine just wasn't satisfactory anymore, and I was not saying a goddamn word, and which it just crushed me. So who knows? You could probably go through that segment of your life as well. Probably weren't an individual which was very much ambitious or didn't have that grit to change until this situation happened. And that could be also something which is pushing you in a direction which you need to be. For the Knight of Coins, I'm getting that this could. I'm getting that some of you are like Uber drivers, or you're that dependable friend of which would be driving people around and shit and not ask for money whenever it concerns gas. You're that dependable of a friend. But I'm also saying with the cattle here, some of you could work with cattle. And whenever it comes to the hunting element, I'm getting that it's not really hunting, but so much so sports archery that you're involved in. But as for the Knight of Coins itself, it's supposed to be getting into the premise of how you can be using your hobbies in order to gain financial aid, and which I think that's the point of which you're actually in contemplation. This is a future element, so who knows? This is probably going to put you into that state of mind where you're going to be like, okay, I'll go ahead and give a good Joker quote on this one. All right. Whenever it comes to what you do and how good you're doing it, never do it for free. That's what I love about the Joker, is that he doesn't fuck around. It's like he's right about that. So if you do have any hobbies in which you're not making any financial gain at this point, go ahead and contemplate that and see what turns gears around that wheel, and you'll be given the path. And obviously, whenever it comes to the path, we're shown it, and it's always harder to apply it. You know, the vision's easy, application's harder. Now, I'm getting with the Knight of Coins that's slow and steady, since, well, whenever it comes to cattle like this, they aren't exactly fast. So it's something that's going to come bit by bit, the direction in which you're needing to go. So I'd say go ahead and take your time. I'm also getting headbands too, or sweatbands. You could be someone that likes to work out, or you just don't have transportation in which you're fucking walking or biking, depending on how that goes for you. I'm also getting pebbles here too, little rocks of which are on the side road, of which I would see like little hindering blocks, or, hindering blocks of which others have thrown your way. in your path or some conceptions of which others have said about you and which you believed at first, and which I think in the current phase, the hermit, that's what you were working through. Hmm. I'm also getting as well that some of you could be collectors of like animal heads and shit like that because I'm seeing the horns and the pentacle on top. Some of you could go to antique stores or shit like that and find little animal masks or stuff of which you put on the wall or on your furniture, like little collectibles of animals and which died and shit. And it's like, yeah, felt sorry for those little fuckers. It's just like, well, we got to have our decoration. So it looks like their meat we eat, but everything else we just fucking get artistic with it. How fucking morbid are we? You know? Holy shit. Eh, but black and white. I'm getting that whenever you do come to the realization of what you need to, everything will return to black and white, but there will be times in which it's going to seem gray again, in which I'm seeing that gray trail that leads from the cow's mouth down his chest. So that's going to be the path in which you're following. Is actually the gray area where things don't seem like they're adding up, but they are. So whenever there's a situation in the current future which you're going to be going through, it's going to seem like you're doing it, but you're not seeing much come from it. And it's like, no, it's happening. You just can't see it at the time frame of what you do. And which pretty much it's like a twisty, twirly path, and which it's not exactly straight. I'm also getting as well that some of you could be involved in like, I don't know, like nudist colonies or some shit like that, or are just someone which ain't exactly really a fan of keeping their fucking clothes on. And which, hey, whenever it comes to me, I like to, keep my fucking body bare as well most of the time. Holy shit. I know one thing, that gets me kicked out more places than I could goddamn count. But I'm getting in the future pretense, it will be a little bit of a fight in which we are actually passing by the moon cycle, in which we are having a little bit to push through some of the shit in which is, trying to stop us. Since I'm seeing this desert right here. So this is going to be the time frame, I'd say, until the full moon, depending on when you watch this. If it's not today or the posting hour in which I posted it, then it could be a different time frame. And you could actually be working with mental issues instead of physical problems. So mental issues or things of traumas and all that are usually worked through whenever the moon's losing light. And whenever it comes to actual work that's being done on the physical plane, that's usually whenever the moon is gathering light. So depending on how and when you see this, it will reflect the state of your future circumstances. I'm also getting some of you are extroverted as fuck. Holy shit. And some people could even be annoyed by that. In fact, that could also be another coping mechanism in which you don't like being with yourself, so you'd rather go out and talk with as many strangers as you can. In which there's nothing wrong with that. We can always, give another a helping hand and have some bicker banter fuckaroo. But whenever your lands are drying up, that's whenever you need to return to the ocean. So for this adjustment, that's pretty good for the 3-card read of which I did. And if there's any questions in which you have, just go ahead and comment below.